An Enderman dungeon? No way. I didn't even know these things existed. They're so rare. For the sake of the speedrun, I'm gonna give myself some Ender eyes. I'm sorry. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, baby.
There are so many people out there that cheat in their Minecraft speedruns, and it is hilarious to watch. So here are some of the most hilarious fake Minecraft speedruns. This first speedrun starts with the runner making the very interesting choice to mount a pig that he had clearly already spawned in, considering the saddle on it and the carrot on a stick he finds randomly on the ground. This is all very weird because his next stop is a village, and as I'm sure you can imagine, it takes him quite some time to get there. But there's something odd going on with this village. After looting all of the chests of their very clearly staged loot, the runner starts trading with some of the villagers, but they're all fully leveled up to master, which explains why they're all standing perfectly still, as they must have been spawned in with custom commands. Next, he heads to a seemingly random mountain where he digs a hole in the wall to find a ruined portal. When he enters the portal, the runner is smack in the middle of a fortress, where a blaze spawner is directly in front of him. Once he grabs some blaze rods, he heads back to the overworld where he conveniently finds an enderman. But notice how his sword is now enchanted, something that is further explained when he kills an enderman and it drops a crap load of pearls, leading me to believe that the new enchantment on the runner's sword is looting. He crafts himself some eyes of ender, but instead of using them to find the stronghold, he just throws an ender pearl in a random direction, and it lands in the stronghold. Wow. I'm mostly just confused by this run, so I'll score it with a C? No, how about just 2 thumbs up? Let me just remind you guys that actually 0% of the people that watch my videos are actually subscribed, and that makes this dog cry. And let's see if you can subscribe before this trigger is full. And it really helps me out, and just subscribe. This runner starts his run by making himself some simple wooden tools, but things start to get fishy when out of nowhere he has instantaneously switched to creative mode, with no further mention or explanation. He flies to a village with his newfound abilities, but one of these chests has a shield, 11 ender pearls, and a sharpness 250 wooden sword. All things that you can obviously not get from a village. When the speedrunner closes the chest, he is in a totally new area, this time in a random house that was obviously pre-built, implying a cut in his recording. After he leaves the random house, he finds a random underground staircase that leads to a dungeon. But the dungeon isn't spawning zombies like it normally should. Instead, it's spawning blazes, completely replacing the standard step of going to the nether in a speedrun. Right next to the spawner is the stronghold, which isn't even much of a surprise at this point. He uses the pearls from the house and the blaze rods from the dungeon to craft eyes of ender and enter the end. Once in the end, the dragon is somehow already dead, and the speedrunner has some brave things to say in chat about it, considering how poorly he just faked that whole run. I'll score this run with an F. That stands for focus all of your energy into trying again. This next run is interesting because the speedrunner is very clearly in creative mode, even though his hotbar says differently. Well, the hotbar is obviously edited in, so I guess that explains it. Since he doesn't get wood from chopping this tree, he just has to give it to himself with creative. Next, he flies to a village that he completely decimates. He goes mining next, and yeah, he actually does pretend to be mining even though he's in creative, but just gives himself the items instead. After a bit of mining, he sort of just goes AFK, but starts to mine blocks insanely fast when he returns, so I guess he turned on an auto clicker or something? There's a random cut in the recording where afterwards, the runner is just suddenly next to diamonds, but he had just switched to creative, so he must have found the diamonds in spectator mode. After crafting full diamond gear, the runner heads back to the surface by literally just flying. No shame at all here. To find the stronghold, he sort of just floats around for a while, but once he's actually there, he has a pretty hard time finding the portal. But killing the dragon is even harder for him, which is weird considering he's literally in creative and has an auto clicker. I'll give this run a D for person. This next run starts off pretty normally with the runner just chopping down some trees, but things start to get fishy when a simple log log drops a ton of overpowered items after being mined. Now that he has a ton of crazy gear, the speedrunner follows a loose path of out-of-place blocks, all the way to a ravine. I guess he's not smart enough to remember simple directions. Once in the ravine, he finds the perfect amount of lava needed to create a nether portal. After entering the nether, the speedrunner finds a strangely large amount of endermen just standing around. Remember those items he got from the tree earlier in the run? Well, the sword had looting on it, which allows him to get a few extra pearls from every enderman he kills, speeding up the process. Once he has enough ender pearls, he stumbles upon a ton of blazes just out in the open. But where's the fortress? Well, there's no fortress. Surprise, surprise. He heads back to the overworld, Eyes of Ender now in hand, but before he throws his first eye, he zooms in his FOV and looks up into the sky, before changing it back to normal. But after this change, he is now in a completely different area than before, now right next to the stronghold. He explains this by saying in chat that, sorry, POV got glitched lag. Yeah, that checks out. Once in the end, he takes just about 10 minutes to wrap up the dragon fight, but it all becomes worth the wait when he reveals his Minecraft skin to us. This guy gets an A, strictly for the level of artistry he clearly dedicated to his skin. This run is one of the strangest I have ever seen. It starts off with the speedrunner finding a treehouse with a chest full of various items, like armor, an ender chest, and an axolotl, but things get even weirder. Most speedrunners would head to the nether next and grab blaze rods and ender pearls, but this guy does something completely different. He mines down in a very specific location directly into the stronghold, where he enters a fully lit end portal. You might think that he did this simply to cut out the step of going to the nether, but he's actually just here to get ender pearls. Yeah, that's right. This guy is a genius. You wish you could even comprehend his speedrunning skills. And then he just heads back to the overworld like nothing ever happened. Now it's time to go to the nether, but while he's in the process of building the portal, something terrible happens. Jacob, roll the clip. Once he's gotten his blaze rods from the nether, he heads back to the end, where he has quite the setup to fight the dragon. But honestly, this is pretty underwhelming. Let me show you how I would do this personally. Alright, let me show you how it's done. You're gonna want to construct this very specific machine. I like to call this one the atom bomb. Patent pending, of course. Okay, there we go. Let's see how this works. There goes the dragon, guys. Oh wait, he's still alive. Alright, this is my newest invention. This one is called the atom bomb. 2. It's time to go. Drop the weapons. Load them up, boys. Let's go. Let's see what's happening. Wow. Is he dead?